Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about power. Not the kind of power that roars from pride or the kind that feeds on others' insecurities. No, I'm talking about the silent, unshakable power that comes from knowing yourself, knowing your worth. And today we're diving into the art of dealing with a narcissist, not with anger, not with malice, but with strategy. 7 ways to flip the script, not to destroy, but to disarm, not to harm, but to protect your peace. First, self-empowerment. A narcissist thrives where insecurity grows. So what do? You water the garden of your self-worth. You cultivate confidence. Because when you shine in your own right, their shadow loses its reach. When dealing with a narcissist, self-empowerment is not just a strategy, it's your foundation. It's the bedrock upon which you build resilience, strength, and clarity. You see, narcissists thrive on insecurity. They sniff it out, exploit it, and use it to manipulate and control. But what happens when there's no insecurity to feed on? What happens when you show up grounded, confident, and untouchable? They lose their edge, they lose their control. Self-empowerment begins with understanding your value, truly knowing your worth. That's not something anyone else can give you. It's something you claim for yourself. It's waking up every morning and reminding yourself, I am enough. Not because someone validated you, not because someone gave you a pat on the back, but because you've decided to believe it. That belief is powerful. It's unshakable. And when you carry it, people notice. More importantly, the narcissist notices. Now let's talk about how self-empowerment looks in action. It starts with investing in yourself. Take time to develop your skills, your passions, and your goals. When you're actively working on becoming the best version of yourself, you shift the focus away from the narcissist games. You're too busy building your empire to care about their little power struggles. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. When you're aligned with your purpose, their attempts to distract or belittle you become background noise. Another critical aspect of self-empowerment is emotional independence. Narcissists often manipulate by preying on emotional needs, your need for approval, your desire to be liked, or your hope for validation. They dangle it in front of you like a carrot on a stick, keeping you chasing something that was never yours to begin with. But when you empower yourself emotionally, you break that cycle. You stop looking at others, especially a narcissist, for the things you can give yourself. Approval, you have it. Validation, already checked off the list. Love, you've got that in abundance from yourself. Empowerment also means embracing your strengths. Narcissists love to make you doubt yourself, to make you question your abilities and second guess your decisions. But when you take time to acknowledge your accomplishments and own your talents, their words lose power. You start to see their tactics for what they are: deflections of their own insecurity. Remember, a narcissist's goal is to dim your light so theirs seems brighter. But when you recognize and celebrate your own brilliance, their efforts seem laughable. This empowerment doesn't mean arrogance or aggression. It doesn't mean trying to win against the narcissist. It's quieter than that. It's more subtle. True empowerment is about being so secure in who you are that their behavior doesn't shake you. It's about knowing deep down that your worth is not up for debate, no matter how much they try to challenge it. Let's not overlook the importance of self-care in this journey. Taking care of your physical, mental, and emotional health is a cornerstone of self-empowerment. Exercise, eat well, meditate, journal, whatever makes you feel strong and centered. These practices not only build your resilience, but also serve as a reminder to yourself that you matter. Every time you prioritize your well-being, you're sending yourself a powerful message: I am worth the effort. Self-empowerment is about perspective. Narcissists have a way of making themselves the center of your world, drawing all attention to their needs and their drama. But when you empower yourself, you flip the script. You start to see them not as an insurmountable force, but as someone who is, frankly, deeply insecure and seeking validation in all the wrong ways. When you view them through this lens, their power diminishes. You realize they're not the giant they pretend to be, they're just a shadow. And shadows only exist when you turn away from the light. In conclusion, self-empowerment isn't just a defense against a narcissist, it's a way of living. It's choosing every day to stand tall, to love yourself, and to own your space in the world. When you operate from a place of empowerment, you become untouchable, not because you've built walls, but because you've built strength. And that, my friend, is the ultimate way to take your power back. Establishing boundaries is one of the most powerful tools you can use when dealing with a narcissist. Boundaries are not just about keeping others out, they're about defining what you will and will not accept in your life. For a narcissist who thrives on pushing limits, breaking rules, and invading your emotional space, clear and firm boundaries are like kryptonite. They don't just protect you, they expose the narcissist's inability to control or manipulate you. When you establish boundaries, you are saying, I respect myself enough to decide what is acceptable in my life. This is a powerful statement, and it's one that narcissists despise because it removes their control. They rely on people who bend, who compromise, who allow small invasions of their personal space, whether emotional, mental, or even physical. By refusing to give in, by standing your ground, you disarm their primary weapon, manipulation. Boundaries are not about confrontation, they're about clarity. The first step in establishing them is understanding your limits. What behaviors are you willing to tolerate? What situations make you feel unsafe or uncomfortable? Once you know your limits, you can begin to communicate them clearly and assertively. This is where many people struggle because they fear backlash or conflict. But remember, setting a boundary isn't about their reaction, it's about your well-being. When communicating a boundary, keep it simple and direct. For example, if a narcissist constantly interrupts your personal time with demands or drama, you might say, I'm unavailable after 8 p.m. Please respect my time. This is not a request, it's a statement of fact. You don't need to explain or justify it. The more you justify, the more you open the door for the narcissist to argue or manipulate. Of course, setting a boundary is only half the battle. The real challenge lies in enforcing it. Narcissists will test you. They'll push back, ignore your limits, or try to guilt trip you into bending them. This is where your resolve becomes critical. You must be consistent. If you say you won't engage in a particular behavior, stick to it. If you allow even one exception, the narcissist will see it as a weakness to exploit. Consistency sends the message that you're serious, and over time, they'll learn that your boundaries are non-negotiable. One of the most effective ways to enforce a boundary is to pair it with a consequence. For example, if the narcissist continues to disrespect your time despite being told otherwise, you might say, if you call me during my personal time, I won't answer. And then you follow through. Consequences are not about punishment, they're about reinforcing your limits and protecting your peace. It's important to note that boundaries are not about changing the narcissist's behavior, they're about protecting yourself. A narcissist will likely never fully respect your boundaries because their nature is to test and push. But the point of a boundary isn't to control them, it's to give you control over your own life. It's about creating a safe space for yourself, where their chaos and manipulation can't reach. Boundaries also require emotional strength because narcissists are masters at using guilt, fear, and obligation to erode them. They might accuse you of being selfish, unkind, or even cruel. But remember, boundaries are not acts of cruelty, they're acts of self-respect. Saying no to someone else is often a way of saying yes to yourself. You're not being unkind by protecting your time, energy, and emotional health, you're being responsible. Over time, as you uphold your boundaries, you'll notice a shift. The narcissist may continue to test you, but their attempts will lose power. They'll begin to realize that their tactics no longer work, and they'll be forced to adapt or move on. Either way, you win, because you've created a space where their influence is minimized. Establishing boundaries is not easy, especially if you've spent years accommodating others at the expense of yourself. It takes practice, patience, and courage. But every time you assert a boundary, you reclaim a piece of your life. You remind yourself that you are in control, that you have the right to decide what does and does not happen in your world. And that ultimately is the greatest victory over a narcissist. When dealing with a narcissist, staying emotionally detached is a crucial skill. Narcissists are experts at provoking reactions, feeding off the emotional energy of others to fuel their sense of superiority and control. They are like actors in a drama of their own making, constantly seeking an audience. If you let your emotions take the lead, you become part of their play, dancing to their script. But when you remain calm and detached, you disrupt their entire narrative. You take away their spotlight and retain your power. Emotional detachment doesn't mean you don't care or that you suppress your feelings entirely. It means you choose not to let your emotions be dictated by someone else's behavior. Narcissists thrive on eliciting extreme responses, whether it's anger, sadness, frustration, or even adoration. They know that emotions can cloud judgment and make you more susceptible to their manipulation. By staying detached, you keep your clarity and control. Achieving emotional detachment begins with recognizing the narcissist's tactics for what they are. Their insults, provocations, and manipulative behaviors are not reflections of you, they are reflections of their own insecurities. When you internalize this truth, you begin to see their actions not as personal attacks, but as predictable patterns. This perspective makes it easier to stay calm when they try to stir up drama. One of the most effective ways to stay emotionally detached is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness helps you observe your emotions without being consumed by them. For instance, if a narcissist criticizes you, instead of reacting defensively, you can take a mental step back and think, this isn't about me. This is about their need to feel superior. By observing your emotions in this way, you gain control over how you respond. Detachment also involves setting limits on your emotional investment. Narcissists often create situations that demand your attention and energy, whether it's through manufactured crises, endless arguments, or emotional outbursts. They thrive on drawing you into their drama, where they can dominate the interaction. To counter this, you need to recognize when to disengage. Not every comment deserves a response, and not every conflict needs your involvement. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Another key aspect of staying emotionally detached is managing expectations. Narcissists are unlikely to change, no matter how much effort you put into understanding them or explaining your perspective. Accepting this reality can save you from the frustration of hoping for something that isn't going to happen. Instead of focusing on changing the narcissist, focus on controlling your own reactions and maintaining your peace. It's also helpful to practice emotional grounding techniques. When a narcissist tries to provoke you, their goal is to knock you off balance. But by grounding yourself through deep breathing, visualization, or simply reminding yourself of your goals, you can remain steady in the face of their attempts to create chaos. Emotional grounding helps you stay present and resist the urge to react impulsively. Emotional detachment doesn't mean being passive or indifferent. It means responding intentionally rather than reacting emotionally. For example, if a narcissist criticizes you, instead of defending yourself or arguing, you might respond with a neutral comment like, "I'll consider that." This type of response acknowledges the statement without giving it emotional weight. It sends a message that you're not easily rattled, which can be incredibly disarming for a narcissist. Over time, staying emotionally detached can change the dynamics of your interactions with a narcissist. When they realize their usual tactics no longer affect you, they may lose interest in provoking you. While this doesn't guarantee they'll stop their behavior altogether, it does mean their attempts will have less impact on your peace of mind. Maintaining emotional detachment takes practice, especially if you're used to reacting emotionally in high-stress situations. But the rewards are worth the effort. By staying calm and centered, you protect yourself from the emotional turmoil that narcissists often bring into relationships. You gain the clarity to make decisions that serve your best interests rather than being swayed by the narcissist's manipulations. In the end, emotional detachment isn't just a defense mechanism, it's a declaration of self-respect and inner strength. It's a way of saying, I will not let anyone dictate how I feel or who I am. and that is a freedom no narcissist can take away. Avoiding overengagement with a narcissist is essential to maintaining your mental and emotional well-being. Narcissists thrive on attention, good or bad. They crave validation, seek to dominate conversations, and often create drama to pull others into their orbit. The more you engage with them, the more you fuel their need for control and validation. By keeping your interactions limited, focused, and intentional, you take away their power to manipulate and drain you. Overengagement often happens because narcissists are skilled at pulling people into their world. They might provoke you with criticism, bait you with arguments, or appeal to your empathy with exaggerated stories of hardship. Each of these tactics is designed to elicit a response. The key to avoiding overengagement is recognizing these patterns and refusing to play their game. When you see their tactics for what they are, you can choose to respond in ways that minimize their ability to control the conversation or the situation. One way to avoid overengagement is to focus on brevity in your interactions. Keep your responses short and to the point. If a narcissist tries to draw you into a lengthy debate or emotional conversation, resist the urge to engage fully. For example, if they accuse you of something, instead of defending yourself or explaining in detail, you might respond with a simple, "That's not accurate," or "I disagree." These concise responses communicate your stance without giving them the emotional reaction they're looking for. It's also important to avoid justifying or over-explaining yourself to a narcissist. They often twist explanations into opportunities for argument or manipulation. If you feel the need to explain your decisions or actions, remind yourself that you don't owe them elaborate justifications. A clear, firm statement like "this is my decision" or "that's what works best for me" is often more effective and leaves less room for them to exploit. Another aspect of avoiding overengagement is knowing when to disengage entirely. Narcissists are known for escalating situations to keep you involved. They may shift from charm to anger, from flattery to guilt-tripping, all in an effort to keep you emotionally invested. Recognize these tactics and practice stepping back when you sense the interaction is becoming toxic. It's okay to end the conversation by saying, "I don't think this discussion is productive," or "I need to focus on something else right now." Walking away is not a sign of weakness, it's a powerful way to protect your energy. Boundaries play a significant role in avoiding overengagement. Set clear limits on the topics you're willing to discuss and the time you're willing to spend in their presence. For example, if a narcissist consistently brings up personal criticisms or contentious issues, let them know that you won't engage in those conversations. If they persist, enforce your boundary by calmly ending the interaction. This not only protects you, but also sends a message that their attempts to control the narrative won't work. It's also crucial to manage your own emotions when dealing with a narcissist. They excel at creating situations where you feel compelled to react, whether out of anger, frustration, or a desire to defend yourself. Before responding, take a moment to pause and ask yourself, is this worth my energy? What will engaging achieve often? The answer is that engaging will only prolong the conflict and give them more power. By choosing not to react, you maintain control over your own emotional state. Avoiding overengagement doesn't mean avoiding all interactions with a narcissist, especially if they are a part of your life you cannot easily remove, such as a family member or coworker. Instead, it means engaging on your terms, not theirs. Focus on keeping interactions neutral and task-oriented. If you need to communicate with them, stick to factual information and avoid emotional or personal topics. This limits their ability to draw you into their drama while still addressing necessary matters. Over time, limiting your engagement with a narcissist can shift the dynamic of your relationship. They may initially try harder to provoke or engage you, but when they see that their efforts aren't getting the desired response, they may move on to other targets or reduce their attempts. While this doesn't mean their behavior will change entirely, it does mean that you'll spend less time caught in their web of manipulation. Avoiding overengagement is about reclaiming your time, energy, and peace of mind. It's about choosing where to invest your attention and ensuring that your interactions with a narcissist don't drain you. By staying focused, maintaining boundaries, and keeping your responses minimal, you take back control of the narrative and protect your emotional well-being. This approach allows you to maintain your dignity and strength no matter how persistent the narcissist may be. When dealing with a narcissist, relying on logic rather than emotion is a crucial strategy for navigating interactions with clarity and composure. Narcissists are master manipulators who often prey on emotional vulnerabilities to confuse, control, and dominate their targets. They are skilled at twisting narratives, evoking guilt, and exploiting your feelings to serve their own needs. By shifting your focus from emotional reactions to logical thinking, you protect yourself from their attempts to destabilize you and maintain control of your own actions and decisions. To rely on logic, you first need to recognize how narcissists use emotions to their advantage. They often provoke anger, sadness, or guilt to create emotional chaos, knowing that people are more likely to make impulsive decisions or lose focus when overwhelmed. For example, a narcissist might criticize you to make you feel inadequate or blame you for their shortcomings to shift responsibility. If you respond emotionally, they gain the upper hand by steering the interaction into territory where they excel emotional manipulation. The key to avoiding this trap is to remain grounded in facts. When a narcissist makes accusations or tries to provoke you, pause before responding. Ask yourself, what are the facts here? What is true and what is being exaggerated or distorted? This mental check-in helps you separate reality from their skewed version of events. For instance, if they accuse you of being always selfish instead of reacting defensively, you can calmly assess the truth of the statement. Most likely, it's a blanket exaggeration designed to push your buttons, and recognizing this reduces its emotional impact. Logic also serves as a tool for setting the tone of your interactions. Narcissists thrive on drama and emotional exchanges because these scenarios allow them to assert dominance. By keeping your responses neutral and fact-based, you deny them the satisfaction of pulling you into their emotional vortex. For example, if they make a provocative statement, respond with a factual observation rather than an emotional rebuttal. I see things differently, or that's not how I recall it, can be more effective than launching into an impassioned defense. Another benefit of relying on logic is that it helps you stay focused on your goals. Narcissists often derail conversations or situations to center attention on themselves. By maintaining a logical approach, you can redirect interactions back to the topic at hand and avoid getting sidetracked by their tactics. For example, if you're discussing a work project and they attempt to make it about their personal grievances, calmly steer the conversation back to the task. Let's focus on the next steps for the project is a logical and firm way to set boundaries. Using logic also means being strategic in your communication. Narcissists often use circular arguments or emotional appeals to wear you down. Instead of engaging in endless debates, focus on clear, concise statements that don't invite further argument. For instance, if they demand excessive praise or validation, you can acknowledge them minimally without over-engaging. I see you put effort into this, is neutral and to the point. This type of measured response prevents escalation while maintaining your boundaries. Logic can also help you manage your expectations. Narcissists are unlikely to change their behavior no matter how much empathy or understanding you extend to them. Accepting this reality allows you to approach interactions with a pragmatic mindset. Instead of hoping for a breakthrough or resolution, focus on managing the situation effectively and protecting your peace. This logical perspective helps you avoid unnecessary frustration or disappointment. Another important aspect of relying on logic is self-reflection. Take time to evaluate your interactions with a narcissist and identify patterns in their behavior. What tactics do they use to provoke or manipulate? How do they respond when you remain calm and logical? Understanding these patterns helps you anticipate their moves and prepare appropriate responses. Over time, this analytical approach strengthens your ability to handle their behavior without being drawn into their emotional games. Remember that logic is a shield, not a weapon. The goal is not to outwit or humiliate the narcissist, but to safeguard your own mental and emotional well-being. Staying logical allows you to disengage from unproductive exchanges and avoid falling into their traps. It enables you to make decisions based on reason rather than being driven by the emotional turmoil they often create.
Relying on logic over emotion is not always easy, especially if the narcissist is someone close to you. Their actions may still sting and their words may still hurt. But by consistently focusing on facts, maintaining composure, and resisting the urge to react emotionally, you regain control over the narrative. You create a buffer that protects you from their manipulation and allows you to navigate interactions on your terms. Logic becomes your anchor, keeping you steady in the storm of their behavior and reminding you that your clarity and strength are tools no narcissist can undermine. Building a support system is essential when dealing with a narcissist because their behavior often leaves you feeling isolated, confused, and emotionally drained. Narcissists are skilled at creating an environment where they dominate your attention, erode your self-confidence, and make you doubt your own perceptions. A strong support system acts as a counterbalance, providing validation, perspective, and emotional reinforcement. It reminds you that you are not alone and that you have a network of people who genuinely care about your well-being. A good support system begins with identifying people in your life who are trustworthy and empathetic. These individuals might be friends, family members, colleagues, or even professionals like therapists or counselors. What matters is their ability to listen without judgment, offer encouragement, and provide an honest perspective. Narcissists often try to isolate their targets subtly or overtly to make you more reliant on them. By reaching out to others, you break this isolation and create a circle of allies who can help you stay grounded. Sharing your experiences with someone you trust can be incredibly validating. Narcissists are experts at gaslighting, making you question your reality by denying, distorting, or minimizing your experiences. This can leave you feeling confused and doubting your own perceptions. When you talk to someone in your support system, they can provide clarity and confirm what you already know deep down, that the narcissist's behavior is manipulative and unhealthy. This validation helps you rebuild your confidence and trust in your own instincts. Your support system also plays a vital role in offering perspective. When you're caught up in the narcissist's web of manipulation, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. Their constant need for attention and control can consume your mental and emotional energy, leaving little room for objective thinking. A trusted friend or advisor can help you step back and see the situation more clearly. They might point out patterns in the narcissist's behavior that you hadn't noticed or remind you of your own strengths and values when the narcissist tries to undermine them. In addition to providing emotional support, your network can serve as a sounding board for decision making. Narcissists often create situations that require immediate, emotionally charged responses, making it difficult to think clearly. When faced with such moments, consulting someone in your support system can help you approach the situation more rationally. For instance, if a narcissist pressures you to make a decision that benefits them at your expense, discussing it with a trusted ally can help you weigh your options and make a choice that aligns with your best interests. Building a support system doesn't mean sharing every detail of your experiences with everyone in your life. It's important to be selective about whom you trust with sensitive information. Look for people who have demonstrated loyalty, discretion, and emotional intelligence. You might also consider joining a support group for individuals who have experienced narcissistic relationships. These groups provide a safe space to share your story, learn from others, and gain insight into effective coping strategies. A strong support system is not just about emotional reinforcement, it also helps you set and maintain boundaries. People in your network can hold you accountable for sticking to the limits you set with the narcissist. For example, if you've decided to limit contact or avoid certain topics of discussion, your allies can encourage you to follow through and remind you why those boundaries are important. Their encouragement strengthens your resolve and makes it easier to resist the narcissist's attempts to push your limits. Another benefit of a support system is that it helps you prioritize self-care. Narcissists often demand so much of your attention and energy that you neglect your own needs. A good support network will encourage you to take time for yourself, whether it's through hobbies, exercise, meditation, or other activities that bring you joy and relaxation. They can remind you that your well-being is a priority, even when the narcissist tries to convince you otherwise. A support system is a source of empowerment. It reinforces the fact that you are not defined by the narcissist's behavior or perception of you. Instead, you are part of a community that values and supports you for who you truly are. By surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, you create a buffer against the negativity and manipulation of the narcissist. Over time, this network becomes a foundation of strength, helping you navigate the challenges of dealing with a narcissist while preserving your sense of self and emotional health. Focusing on your own growth and goals is one of the most powerful ways to disempower a narcissist and reclaim control over your life. Narcissists thrive on keeping others centered around their needs, desires, and manipulations. By redirecting your energy towards self-improvement and personal achievements, you shift the focus away from them and back to yourself. This not only deprives the narcissist of the attention they crave, but also reinforces your sense of purpose and self-worth, which are critical for overcoming their influence. When you prioritize your own growth, you are making a conscious decision to invest in yourself rather than in the narcissist's demands or expectations. This begins with identifying what truly matters to you. Reflect on your passions, values, and long-term aspirations. Perhaps there are skills you've wanted to develop, goals you've put on hold, or dreams you've sidelined because of the narcissist's control or criticism. Now is the time to revisit these ambitions and commit to pursuing them with focus and determination. Setting clear goals is a crucial step in this process. Whether your aspirations are related to career, education, relationships, health, or personal development, writing them down and creating actionable plans can help you stay on track. Breaking your goals into smaller, manageable steps makes them more achievable and allows you to celebrate progress along the way. For instance, if you've always wanted to advance in your career, you might start by updating your resume, taking a professional course, or networking with industry peers. Each small step builds momentum and reinforces your commitment to yourself. Focusing on your goals also means setting boundaries with the narcissist to protect your time and energy. Narcissists often try to monopolize your attention, drawing you into their dramas or using guilt to make you prioritize their needs over your own. By clearly communicating your boundaries and sticking to them, you create the space necessary to pursue your ambitions. For example, you might limit the time you spend with the narcissist or decline to engage in conversations that derail your focus. These boundaries not only safeguard your growth, but also send a powerful message that your goals are non-negotiable. Another important aspect of focusing on your growth is developing self-awareness. Narcissists often try to undermine your confidence and make you doubt your abilities. Combat this by regularly reflecting on your strengths, accomplishments, and areas for improvement. Journaling, meditation, or seeking feedback from trusted friends or mentors can help you gain clarity about your capabilities and potential. The more self-aware you become, the less influence the narcissist has over your sense of self. Surrounding yourself with supportive people is another key to success. Narcissists often attempt to isolate their targets, making them feel dependent and powerless. Counteract this by building a network of individuals who encourage and inspire you. These might include friends, family, colleagues, or mentors who share your values and believe in your potential. Their encouragement can provide the motivation and accountability you need to stay focused on your goals, even when the narcissist tries to distract or discourage you. Personal growth also involves embracing challenges and learning from setbacks. Narcissists often criticize or belittle others to maintain their sense of superiority. Rather than internalizing their negativity, view obstacles as opportunities to grow stronger and more resilient. When faced with criticism, consider whether it holds any constructive value and discard the rest. Remember that your worth is not determined by their opinions, but by your own actions, character, and achievements. Engaging in activities that nurture your mind, body, and spirit is another powerful way to focus on your growth. Exercise, hobbies, creative pursuits, or volunteering can provide a sense of fulfillment and joy that no narcissist can take away. These activities not only enrich your life, but also serve as reminders that you are capable of creating happiness and meaning independently of anyone else's approval or validation. As you continue to grow and achieve your goals, you'll notice a shift in the dynamic with the narcissist. Their attempts to control or diminish you may become less effective as you become more confident and self-assured. While this doesn't guarantee that their behavior will change, it does mean that their influence over you will diminish. By focusing on your growth, you create a life that is defined by your choices and values rather than by the narcissist's manipulation. Focusing on your growth and goals is about reclaiming your power and living authentically. It's a declaration that you are not defined by the narcissist's behavior or limitations. Instead, you are defined by your potential, your resilience, and your ability to create a meaningful and fulfilling life. Every step you take toward your goals is a step away from the narcissist's control and a step closer to the person you aspire to be. This journey of growth is not just a way to protect yourself, it's a way to thrive and find lasting freedom. In the journey of dealing with a narcissist, the power lies not in changing them, but in changing how you respond to them. By employing the strategies we've discussed, leveraging emotional independence, avoiding over-engagement, relying on logic, building a support system, and focusing on your own growth and goals, you reclaim control over your life. Each of these steps empowers you to rise above their manipulation and prioritize your well-being. It's important to remember that the narcissist's behavior is not a reflection of your worth or capabilities, but rather their own insecurities and need for control. You cannot fix them, and you do not owe them your energy. What you can do is protect your peace, stand firm in your boundaries, and channel your energy toward the life you deserve. This isn't just about surviving their influence, it's about thriving in spite of it. It's about turning the tables by refusing to play their game. When you prioritize your goals, embrace your resilience, and surround yourself with people who uplift you, the narcissist's grip weakens. They may continue their attempts, but they will find that their power over you has faded. The greatest victory over a narcissist is living a life of authenticity, freedom, and fulfillment. By taking back your energy, focusing on your own aspirations, and reinforcing your emotional strength, you break free from their control and step into your true partnership. This is your journey, your growth, and your story, one they no longer get to dictate.